Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, Josh. Thank you guys so much for hosting this and for including EXIM in the program today. This afternoon, I'll be giving you a brief overview of the Export-Import Bank of the United States, or EXIM for short. That's EXIM. I'll try to go as quickly as possible, but just to give you a little bit of background on who EXIM is, who we are. So EXIM is a U.S. federal agency that was established around 1934. And this was during the Great Depression. And the purpose was to be able to facilitate economic growth by assisting US companies with financing their exports of goods and services with an ultimate goal of job creation. This mission continues today because when exporters have tools that can help them win business, fulfill orders, expand operations, and export confidently, knowing that their money is being protected and that their cash is flowing, they're more likely to be able to hire more and to sustain a full workforce. So actually around the same time that EXIM Bank was being created, here in the US, other developed countries were implementing their own export credit agencies to do the same. And today, there are around 90 or so other countries with export credit agencies equipping their companies with similar support, which is why we're the official export credit agency for the United States. And in short, they're also called ECAs. And because the US has its own ECA, because they have EXIM Bank, American exporters can compete for global sales on a level playing field. So at EXIM, we have an Office of Small Business, which, if you ask me, is the heartbeat of our agency, considering that on average, 80 to 90% of our total transactions and authorizations are in support of small business exporters. In that office, we have a Minority and Women-Owned Business Division, MWB for short, which is actually a robust business development and outreach program that was implemented in the early 90s. The MWB Division its full purpose is to ensure that the bank is doing its due diligence with regard to not only reaching out to, but connecting with the underserved business community, which some may refer to as a group of businesses that have been traditionally at a disadvantage socially or economically throughout our nation's history, especially when it comes to accessing capital or procurement opportunities. So our MWB group works to educate these companies, raise awareness among these companies and the different organizations that service them, and assist these companies with qualifying and accessing EXIM financing, because we are a relatively unknown agency. They call us the best kept secret, which I'm sure everybody on this call, on the panel, is familiar with EXIM, but a lot of people aren't. So it's imperative that you understand who we are and how we fit into the trade scope. And so we do the MWB group. You can go to the next slide. We're able to reach the underserved business community and exporters through engagements just like this. So as you can see on this slide, our target audience includes minorities, women, veterans, and businesses owned by persons with disabilities. So next slide. So let's get into the tools, the working capital loan guarantees and the export credit insurance. Our financing is essentially designed to cover your export sales from pre-export financing with working capital loan guarantees, much like the SBA program that Mr. Eckel just went over, to ensuring that you're getting paid with our export credit insurance. Next slide. So the way that our working capital loan guarantees is, you just kind of heard about it. So if you have a buyer overseas that you would like to export to, but you need the capital to fulfill an order, we can work with you and a U.S. domiciled lender, ideally one that has delegated authority with EXIM, to secure a line of credit through our guarantee program. The main benefits of that is that we're providing a 90% guarantee of repayment to the lender. So in the event that you, the exporter, defaults, we're minimizing risk for that lender. We're guaranteeing 90% repayment, which typically can result in larger advancement rates than a company would even see for a domestic sale. For example, with a guarantee in place, clients tend to be able to borrow against their export-related accounts receivables with advance rates up to 90%. That does depend on quality, but then also advance rates up to 75% for export-related inventory. So much like Mr. Eckel mentioned, there's got to be an export element in order to qualify for this type of financing program. Another benefit to the guarantee is what you're going to use the capital for. The capital can be used to pay for material, purchase raw material, purchase supplies, pay for equipment from vendors, really anything that would be needed to complete or fulfill an export order to a foreign buyer. And this can be a revolving or transaction specific loan similar to SBA's guarantee program. Next, please. And then we have our export credit insurance. And this is our premier product. It's really what we're known for. The export credit insurance is probably, in my opinion, one of the most valuable and unique payment methods in trade finance for US exporters to have and to know about. It's literally an insurance policy that a US exporter can apply for, and it does three key things. One is it's an insurance policy. It's literally protecting you against non-payment. In the event that your foreign buyer defaults on payment, they can't pay you due to a commercial or political risk. They've gone bankrupt. There's been a revolution in the country. Whatever is preventing them from not being able to fulfill the payment for something that you provided, that's what that payment protection is for. And that helps you be able to sleep at night. It helps you to be able to confidently export and send your products. And I think Mr. Peter from US Commercial Service mentioned earlier about mitigating risk and eliminating that fear with exporting. And that's what export credit insurance is here to do, to mitigate that risk and eliminate that fear, knowing that you'll get paid in the event that your buyer can't pay you. Secondly, the export credit insurance can be used as a sales tool. So when you're meeting with or negotiating with potential or existing foreign buyers that you've met through the Gold Key program or that you've met in other avenues, and it can be used as a sales tool because it enables you to offer it enables you to be able to sell to your foreign buyers on open account terms. That means you're able to extend credit to them, essentially giving them net 30, 60, 90 days or more to pay you back after you've shipped your product or performed your services, because services are exports too. But when you're able to provide that type of flexibility like this, you're creating a situation for your foreign buyer where they're able to maintain consistent cash flow. And I don't know about you, but I want to do business with the person who's going to offer me that type of flexibility. And that's how you can use it as a sales tool to close a contract or win a deal. And the reason that I would be comfortable with doing that is because now that I have an insured receivable, I now have an additional asset on my balance sheet, and I can use it as collateral to access capital to use as I await payments from my buyers so I can continue to fulfill orders. So if you're using it the right way, it's a win-win for you and your foreign buyer. Next slide, please. So really quickly, the way it works is you would come to me or somebody on my team or someone from our regional office. You would apply for an export credit insurance policy. If approved, you are able to offer buyer terms. Remember those net credit terms, those 30, 60, 90 days or more for repayment. You ship to them, you invoice them, and if you don't get paid, you file a claim with EXIM. And given that all the parameters of the policy are met, then you get recovered for that loss. And trust me, if you talk to anybody who's used EXIM before, it makes a huge difference. Next slide. And then we have our country limitation schedule. And this essentially lists the countries where EXIM is both able or unable to provide financial support. So for example, let's say your firm is in the process of selling its goods to a foreign customer and you hope to have or use an EXIM Bank product to protect against non-payment, to extend terms, or to access working capital. The country limitation can tell you whether the country of that foreign customer is open for coverage or off for coverage. So that's just going to let you know which countries essentially we're open to do business in and which ones we're not, which ones we have coverage in. Just the last couple last things. EXIM is actually considered a fairly small agency, so we greatly rely on our external partners, and honestly, even collaboration groups like this, U.S. Commercial Service, SBA, MBDA, all of these groups, these different economic development centers, and then also our export credit insurance brokers. We actually have insurance brokers. If you sign up for an export credit insurance policy, they're literally there to help service you, help you report your shipments, file your claims, give you advice on new buyers. And that's essentially it's at no cost to the customer to be able to have that extra service with an export credit insurance policy. Then we also have our regional export promotion program members, and these tend to be the SBDCs, the economic development centers, and they help us to educate U.S. companies about the EXIM programs. And then lastly, our delegated authority lenders. These are commercial or private lenders who have delegated authority to administer that working capital loan guarantee. So just like SBA, we're not directly lending that line of credit, we're guaranteeing a line of credit that's coming from a commercial lender. And then lastly, I did want to just echo what Mr. Eckel said. We do have some eligibility requirements for EXIM financing as well. And that's one of the main things is US content requirement. So in order to access these export credit insurance and the working capital loan guarantee, there is an expectation that the product is at least 51% US content. So parts and pieces could come from other places as well. We just have to see that 51% is at least US content. The company needs to have a Dun & Bradstreet number and a UEI number, which our team can actually assist with providing guidance on how to get these things if you don't have them. And then a minimum of 12 years in business for the working capital guarantee. And then for the export credit insurance, generally between 2 to 3 years in business. And that's because we want to see some skin in the game. We want to see ready available financial statements in order to see that there's reasonable reassurance of repayment. So those are just some of the eligibility requirements. Please feel free to connect with me directly. I'm sure my contact information is in there, and I'm done with my presentation. Thanks so much.
Nicole, that's awesome. Thank you. Honestly, I'm learning new stuff, and I've been working with EXIM for years, and it's just there's so many cool resources and such a rebirth of focus on, as you said, the community that really needs to get access to these services. So you've been just a huge superstar at EXIM and everything you do. So thanks, Nicole.
Josh, can I jump in real quick on the EXIM?
Absolutely, Peter.
Really quick. Sorry, Nicole, thanks so much. That was a great presentation. I just want to let everyone know that you can give payment terms, and it is, I mean, it's cents on the dollar. The rates are amazing. You build it into your price, right? Customer doesn't even know it, because if you tell them that, you know, in Latin America, they don't want to pay it. You build into the price, and as you make shipments, you just contact them and you pay $400 or $500,000 at a time. I mean, it's the most amazing program I've seen, and I've been in international business for a long time. So I just wanted to give Nicole some props there. It's an amazing program. You got to check it out. It will make your sales will go through the roof. If you can give terms to compete against your enemies, you will succeed for sure.
Competitors, we call them.
Thank you so much, Peter. And I just because you said that, I have to throw in there the STEP program that Mr. Rodriguez talked about as well. There's a new caveat to that, in most states, I'm not sure all, but some states you can actually use the funds from that STEP program to go towards your premium cost for having that export credit insurance. And that is a huge benefit to that STEP program and using export credit insurance. Had to add that.
It's unbelievable. It's
unbelievable. So don't go anywhere for a second, Nicole, but before you guys go, and Peter too, why not? And Antonio, let's just, this is the beauty of this workshop and the engagement here, because you've got the proverbial horses' mouths all here engaging, and also just popped in from SBA. People got their videos on. And honestly, this is it. These are the people. If you have a question, you say, you know what, I don't know where government is. I don't know what they're doing to support me. This is them, and they're supporting you. And if the question is, well, I'm not getting the runaround because one agency says another thing, another says another. Again, here are the people. So really exciting stuff.